Madam Chair, we are live. Thank you, Mrs. DeGraw. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. We want to thank all of you in the audience for coming today. And we will have Mr. Williams lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, so move.
Is there a second? Second. Those in favor?
I have them muted, Sister Grau, like,
Why?
just so when they talk, they can push it and.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So the green means go.
Super.
So,
We have new microphones. We're learning how to use them. Mine never goes off, you know. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. You probably need to do that.
I just realized that when
Okay.
I'm building something.
Sorry, the new microphones.
We'll get it figured out. All right. So currently we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
I motion.
Nedra seconded. All right. Mrs. DeGraw, do we have any public comment sheets? No, ma'am. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Madam Chair, I so move. Is there a second? I second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Our first action item is purchase and spending and surplus approvals.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll explain what we have here on this one. So we do have a repair need in the bleachers at the Panther Den. That would be the big side. Those have not been retracted since volleyball season when they came in and refinished the floor. We did have a company come in to look at that and service the bleachers. These bleachers have been installed in 1996 and 97. I actually have helped install those as a student, so that's how old those
Been a
bleachers
minute.
are. And that's the new gym, just remember that. But what happened is, when they were getting put back in, one of the motors went out, which caused it to go in at uneven amounts, and there was some things that broke. So the company came in, they were able to fix it. But with that, they recommend replacing all of the motors. The motors that they currently have are, surprise, surprise, not the same that were there in 1996. And so their recommendation was to replace all those motors to go, so that the bleacher will be able to retract and go out at the same. See here that the bleacher quote is over the amount that's required by the time it comes with the installation and all the different things with the motors, and so it will be 11,000. That is a large amount, but the sources will come from plant facilities, which is for that purpose, to keep things running and in place. But again, it was 26 years old, and this is the first major repair. When I was talking with a superintendent from a different district the other day, they were mentioning also that they have bleachers that are less, they're newer than ours, that are also having trouble. So it's kind of a common thing. It's something we have to, but I do need board approval for that.
Is there any questions or discussion? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the bleacher repair. Madam Chair, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, our next action item, athletics performance coach.
So this is an exciting item that I wanted to bring to the board with the new opportunity that we have in our athletic department. And so our athletic department, consisting of our A team, our athletic director, activities director, principal. We've had several coaches come and visit with us about this opportunity to have a performance coach come and work with the athletes. This is something new, and it's not something that every single team has completely been aware of because it's new. The girls' basketball team and the boys' basketball team is currently experimenting with how this would work. And so there's a gentleman by the name of Brian Higginson, who is an athletic trainer, and he has he came and presented to a group of coaches. All the head coaches were invited to come to a meeting with the A team and some community members that are part of the Booster Club. And we visited with him about some of the things that he could offer for our kids. This is something that would be an additional opportunity for all athletes at West Jefferson High School, or even those that aren't athletes that would like to come and participate at scheduled times when he's available. Some of the things that he works on are speed and agility, weightlifting. He talks about nutrition and other things like that that allow athletes to get the best. We know that there have been programs that have had individuals like this to help support their athletes, and they've seen a lot of results. Brian has worked at volunteered at another district prior to this, and they've seen a lot of success with their kids, and it's something that we've wanted to try. Now, the funding sources for this wouldn't be considered hiring somebody. It's just a purchase service. This individual would come and complete our background check as any volunteer would complete a background check for the school district. But then for the services that he provides, we would just be paying him out monthly for those services.
Question.
Yes.
Do you think that it would be monthly every month, or do we have some months where there aren't athletics going on?
So good question. So there are some months, like for example, December, we have a few months and we have breaks, and there might not be times where the teams would be needing that. The goal as we met would be to offer this also during the summer. And so kids would be able to come in during the summer. This is something that some people have done and gone out and paid a lot of money individually. This would allow a lot of our students to have this. And so to fund that, the idea behind this is that we would try to get as many donations as possible to this. I put including Booster Club because I have met with the Booster Club. They are pledging to be able to help out with a large amount of the cost of this service for us. Athletic Gate would be the next place that I'd look to be able to pay for this. And if needed, again, because it's still approximate on the amount that would be given would be from general fund. I just felt it was important for the school board to be aware that we wanted to provide this opportunity to the kids and the funding sources that would go towards that. I know that some of the school or some of the members of the board have had individuals in the community that were involved with this come and contact you. I'm curious to hear some of your at least thoughts and maybe questions that you had as part of this discussion before we vote on it.
Well, I was saying that I had somebody say they thought maybe this would increase the hours of practice. And I didn't know, so.
In theory, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to work in conjunction with it. And so that's something that we will definitely keep an eye on. I know that the topic of long practices has been in play even before this. And so that's definitely something we'll keep in mind and make sure we keep an eye on.
Okay.
So from my experience as a parent with a student that's involved in athletics, I think it's been a positive thing because it's encouraged not just additional knowledge in regards to how they're eating, because that's something that he's brought up, but it's encouraged different opportunities for lifting weights and how to lift weights correctly and how to increase just their overall skill to improve it through becoming stronger, which is not what they always get in regular practices because they're working on plays and running and whatever they're doing. So it's been beneficial from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. I know one of the questions that did come up is, well, if the school district is offering a weights class and also the athletic weights class, why provide this additional opportunity? And some of the responses to that, not all kids can fit the athletic weights class into their schedule. And we've also found that, at least in the high school, at least from my observations, in the junior high kids that participate in athletic weights, more of those girls are willing to try that, but it seems like, especially for the female athletes, it's you're uncomfortable doing some of those lifting weights and things in front of the other gender. And this would allow the female athletes to definitely have that, but also allow, this performance coach to be able to work in conjunction with the team. He's, with his presentation, he's not trying to come in and do something different. He wants to work with the coaches, and what that's gonna look like is gonna depend on each individual coach. And I think we'll give those coaches that autonomy to make those decisions as they go forward. But I do think it's gonna be something, I'm excited about the opportunity with it.
I would think coaches would be worried it would take away time from their skills. You know,
Yeah,
but maybe not.
and I think they could, if, depending on how it's organized. That's gonna be the tricky part to look through.
I think as a coach, I think you might see it as adding to what you're already doing. Because you want an athlete who can perform a skill, but you want a strong athlete who can hold their own and shows increased maybe flexibility, stability. Maybe their joints are getting stronger from this, and so they're not having as many accidents
Yeah.
during the season. So it might help in those areas as well.
So I don't know if the board has any other questions or concerns or things I need to be aware of. I know that, like I've mentioned before, we're still experimenting with how it looks with the scheduling and the practicing. What that looks like with each and every team. That doesn't mean that we're not going to have little situations that come up that we don't have to problem solve and figure out. But it's exciting to have an individual that as he met with the athletic department, offer this option for us and for the Booster Club and others that are willing to donate for this. I think it's gonna be a positive experience for our athletes. So with that, Madam Chair, like I said, the estimated cost would be around $1,700 per month coming from those donations first to go through, and it could be a little bit less than that if there's not as many days on there. That's something that pending board approval, I'll wait and have that conversation with Mr. Higginson.
Okay. If there's no further discussion or any questions, the chair will entertain a motion to approve funding the purchase service of an athletics performance coach using the proposed funding sources.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Next up, policy second reading of 3265 student-owned electronics.
This is the policy, Madam Chair, that will allow us to be eligible for the $5,000 from the Idaho State Department to follow the guidelines that were recommended through the governor in that announcement. And so we had our first reading last month. There weren't any changes to it. Does the board, after reviewing this, have any comments or changes to it? This follows the procedures that were already in place and just outlines it into a policy.
I just say we were ahead of things on this one.
That was nice, wasn't it? We had, basically, it's not really, it's just making official policy out of the procedure that we already implemented in August, which has been going very well. And we will continue to monitor that, and if we're finding areas that we need to tighten up on, we'll make sure that our teachers keep doing that.
There was one thing that, and I read it just yesterday, but I can't remember now. Did it say that K-6 could not bring cell phones to school?
They can bring them in their backpack, we just don't want to see them at all.
They just can't carry them in their pockets. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the chair will entertain a motion to approve policy 3265.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, January, we need to look at possibly changing the time of our meeting.
Our annual meeting is set at 1:30. I am requesting that we move it to 12:30. And the reason for that is 100% for me to be able to complete the board meeting prior to an athletic event that night. Junior high basketball team plays in Butte County at 4 p.m. And I'm coaching. So,
They need you to be there. Super. Okay,
So if that works with everyone's schedules, it just requires a board approval to change the new date,
Starting at noon.
starting at executive session at noon.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate a big, if we need to put executive session earlier, we'll let you know. But I think we'll do executive session. Have a quick.
super. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the proposed changes to January's annual board meeting.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
second,
Those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Next up, request for proposal on the football field and track.
Last month, I shared with the board, what a request for proposal looks like and how it is part of our policy. And upon the board vote from last month to create a, RFP for the football field, I went ahead and did that. And so today, we would just approve that request for proposal. This is what it entails. It's similar to the ones that we've put out before in the past, but it's just a request for proposal that we're seeking vendors to remove and replace the turf field and replace or retop the track at West Jefferson High School. This will allow us to advertise this in the newspaper, and then commence receiving the bids. As policy 7405P indicates that the board can have the request for proposal, which we voted on last month, in the event of different ways to look for good solutions for the district. This part right here comes directly from our policy, and it's here in the RFP for any of those vendors to look at. So what this will look like once we advertise, it just tells the people they can email me the quotes from wherever they're at, wherever they get this. If they have questions about the project, they're to call me. That just lets them know who's going to be responsible for helping them. Quotes will be accepted between December and January. The deadline for quotes will be January 31st. I'll have an evaluation committee consisting of administrators and athletic directors and directors with me. And then on February 6th, I propose that we would hold a special meeting to just that I'll be able to present to the board the findings from those quotes, which will allow us to move forward with these projects.
what month did you say?
February.
February,
Yeah, February 6th. This section just talks about the scope of the project, of removing and looking at the foundation of the dirt. One of the things is we're interested in applying a cushion pad or safety pad also. That's not on our current field. With the project timeline during the summer of 2025 to have the turf completed before August of 25 and the track before October. I put that just because of the weather. It might be done before that. Possibly both of them could be done before August, just depending on which vendors and which projects they have. But I wanted to give them a little bit of flexibility to work through that.
If you wait on the track like that, would that interfere with use of your football field prior to October?
It depends on what they have. They might be able to lay it and then come in and paint it later. I know when we played at Nampa this last year on their new field, they also had a track that was not, it was poured and laid, but it wasn't painted. They were actually coming in the next day after that. And so it just gives them, I just wanted to give the vendors some flexibility to hopefully, so we can get the best options.
you intend to have that ready before the season starts?
As I've done some of research on that, because we have the foundation and everything already established, the bulk of it is to come in and remove. They would come in, remove a lot of the rubber pellets out. Slice the field, roll it, take it off. Do the a gravel base and then come in with the new stuff. And so it typically takes 3 to 4 weeks
Okay.
with that.
You do it the old curve.
You can take it to your house if you want to. Like, I might, we probably should just put it on the playground. I don't know. Really, we could have options with this. As I talk to the companies, we could. If any farmers wanted it, especially farmers that donated to the first track or to the first field, they want a roll of it, I would be happy to say, we'll come and get it. I want to, as part of this proposal, as I'm talking with the different vendors, I'm hoping we might be able to reduce cost by suggesting that maybe we do have farmers that have semis with flatbeds that might be able to come and help take some stuff off, which would cut down the cost. So I'm just looking for things like
You mean
that.
they can reuse it?
People have repurposed them. Not really use it for an athletic field, but maybe if somebody wanted to cut a spot and put it in their patio or
So
something.
why could we use it here?
Um,
We just don't.
I think what would, to really make it look nice, you would have to set the base and like get the ground set just perfect
I see.
for it. You'd probably have to come in and pack gravel, pack it down and lay it on top of that to keep it nice and smooth. If we came in just over the top of the it'd be like a tarp over the top of the grass. You'd still have the voles and everything up underneath it. Yuck.
Yeah.
But it might be a good thing, a weed barrier in the gardens too. That might be a fun one. Honestly, there's gonna be a lot of it.
Right.
So. Good question, but so there will be like, this request for proposal does have a scoring methodology that we put on there, really based off of the things that were in policy. So like, when we review these, price isn't gonna be the only thing that we're not, we might have somebody who has the lowest price, but doesn't have an innovative solution or anything like that. Or, longevity, different things like that in the time frame, future maintenance, stuff like that, we wanted to put in as so we'll use this rubric to help us select the vendor.
Super.
So as of right now, superintendent's just seeking just approval from the board to move forward with this RFP, the request for proposal.
Okay. Is there any questions or discussion?
I know we've had discussed this for about 1.5 years now,
Right,
so,
it's finally happened.
yeah.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve moving forward with the RFP for the field turf and track project.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? That motion passes, thank you. Okay, and we just finished up the superintendent annual evaluation during executive session.
Yep, that's it.
Fun.
It was fun, wasn't it?
So, I just want to thank Shane for all that he does for our district and for our students and the employees and our community. We appreciate him, and I honestly don't know what we would do without him here. So the chair will entertain a motion to verify the completion of the superintendent's annual written formal evaluation.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not two. So, that motion
Well,
passes.
thank you. Should we move on?
Yeah,
there?
holy cow.
Okay,
We're done with our action items, so right on to informational and discussion items. First one up is a policy review. This will be the first reading.
so there are several, as you can see on here, with the policy review, we do have the annual review section. So this is, again, just an opportunity for the board members to remember that throughout the year, we have some that are required to be at least looked at or up for options for feedback from the public, from the board. And so in that list, you'll see that these are all part of those. There are a couple of them that weren't on the list that we had as procedure that we're moving on. But as we look at these lists, again, we're on information discussion. We would need to go one more reading anyway to vote on anything. So I'm not sure if there's anything that the board would like to review right now. And I'm just gonna kind of put it on your guys' plate on how much you would like to discuss these today. No, Mrs. DeGraw will be getting, at your request, a hard copy of all this. But really on both of these policy reviews for the annual ones and also for the 8,000 series. This is really just notice that these policies are up for public review, so our public can look at that also. It gives our patrons an opportunity to, if they have any questions on these, to contact you guys as board members to give their feedback as well. So my purpose in this today is not to go over every single one of these, but to bring them to the board's attention, that they are here for review.
Okay. Looks like we have a lot of reading to do. Next up, financial investment in FDIC.
Yes, the policies, yeah. Yep, Carrie said, Mrs. DeGraw will get a policy. You'll get a hard copy for the board members
Let me get a hard copy of all of those policies.
for all those policies.
And then you guys can go through them, and if there's concerns. If there's not, I think I have the adopted date for the ones that we have adopted. But what we'll do is after they're reviewed, we will vote on them
And look,
again, just so that we can verify this is how the board wants these policies.
so we are on 5.2 with the financial investment. The other day, Mrs. DeGraw and I had a chance to meet with the Bank of Commerce. And we were discussing where we do our banking with the Bank of Commerce. They are a local bank. They brought up a program that they have that might be helpful for us as a district when it comes to the FDIC requirement of not exceeding the $250,000 of secured funds.
It's not an FDIC requirement, it's not what, it's the cap,
misspoke.
what they will.
The FDIC will
reimburse us if the
only,
bank fails.
yes, and so it's the audit requirement.
Correct,
Yeah.
it's noted as a risk because we have more than $250,000 at one institution.
So with that, there's,
So this is the other one.
that's the other one. I need to go to this information here. So it's a program called, at least with the Bank of Commerce, it's called Intrify. We did reach out to our other financial, with Zions, and they mentioned that this is a common thing that banks do. And so what it allows us to do is actually put more money into the Bank of Commerce, but then they will share out those funds to different banks, which allow us to not have a finding on our audit. But it helps with the payroll. And Mrs. DeGraw, I know you've been sick and your voice is hurt.
Yeah.
Why don't you just
Yeah.
talk briefly about how you feel this would be beneficial to you? I was impressed with it as we talked privately, but I just want you to be able to articulate that.
So, it makes me nervous knowing that I'm putting our district at risk for having more than $250,000 in income. And
And this will help reduce that worry.
Correct. Just to make payroll, it's $330,000. So when I move money into the bank to make payroll and then all of my other bills, I'm double, tripling almost that FDIC requirement. What this does is at night, banks transfer money to other banks so that those banks have a portion of your funds and everything is under the $250 mark. And then in the morning, it's transferred back to the other banks. I always have access to all of my money. I look at my bank account, I can see my balances. This is all stuff that happens on the backside. It doesn't cost the district anything to participate in it. doesn't really have a risk, it actually removes the risks. And then they will provide us with a statement as to how our money has moved throughout the month. And, you know, so this bank had it, and that bank had it, and the banks get to choose which banks they partner with. And so they said, we are partnering with banks that have a long history. We look at their balance books and we make sure that their bank is healthy. And so I think that this solves a problem that our district has been facing for a long time.
And so this PowerPoint really is just Mrs. DeGraw gave the summary of what it will do. Part that also piqued our interest, no pun intended, is to be able to gain interest on the funds in a different way. It gives us flexibility. We currently do receive interest on the funds that are in the
LGIP.
LGIP at the state treasury. And that was some of the things that Mrs. DeGraw put together for us here is like one of the options through the InterVite program is for CDs, short term, and different things like that. And so you can see the different levels that would be available. And so it might be good to have them get locked in. You know, I know the Fed is meeting, because you put in here today, so I'm assuming it is today on that one. But for us to do that, we wanted to keep the board just aware of what we're doing. I don't believe it requires a vote from the board. But if the board would like us to put that in next month's meeting for that, I don't know. What are your thoughts on
So
that?
one of the policies that's in policy for review actually talks about investments. And the way that is currently written is that the board would like to be informed of investments the school is making, but that that the decision making is the superintendent's along with the business manager. One of the biggest reasons we're looking into a CD is for the facility funds that we received. We right now have $1.9 million in a separate account at the LGIP, but we earn less than 1% on interest with them, and the percentage of it is based upon their investing in the gift. If we went with a 90-day CD, we can earn 4.9%. This interest can be spent on anything. The interest on our facility fund is not restricted to
capital projects.
right, to capital projects. And then if we did a 90-day CD, let's say it's for $1 million, then at the end of the 90 days, then the bank will then let me know what the new rates are for the CDs, and then we would opt into whichever one gives us the best interest.
So you would have to have more money in there. And then you rotate, you keep that in there for 3 months, and then you put more in to cover what you're taking for payroll. So you're constantly going to have a lot more money in there than you do right now, just to cover the CDs for the 3
Yeah.
months, right?
Yeah.
And I've actually never worked with CDs before,
Oh, they're
and
good.
I don't know how they appear on the bank statements and stuff, but I will learn all of that, so it doesn't, okay. So we will, but we do think it's a wise decision to not have this money sitting
In the, just
and
in
not
the
gaining a
LGIP.
good interest. So this is kind of the direction we want to go.
We could.
I guess, to me, the interest rates are backwards. I would think if you make a 12-month
So the
commitment,
reason it's backwards is because the market right now as to what the interest rates are going to do is questionable. And so like, well, we can promise that we'll get you this percentage currently, but they're not gonna give you a better percentage the farther out you go, because they don't know what the Feds are going to do.
Because normally if you make a longer commitment, you get a higher rate, right?
Right, and that's why it's backwards, right?
Gotcha.
I'd almost be more comfortable with a 90-day one anyway. Just
Yeah. Give us the
Because
flexibility.
depending on if you can, in emergency situation, pull your money from the CD, I don't know.
Well,
Probably depends on which one
what
it is.
we would do is invest what we felt comfortable with, knowing that there could be an emergency and having some set aside for an emergency.
Because you've still gotta meet payroll every month, so you've got that,
Yeah,
except.
and we would probably be really cautious with.
So what you're
with
doing
those
is you've gotta
funds.
catch up to yourself, you've gotta get 3 months out and then it'll work.
So what,
'Cause you
this
can
is totally
replace.
separate from my operation funds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
These are all facility funds, has nothing to do with our balance that's
Right,
in our operations,
right.
and so
And that's a good question.
it
that
is,
you have.
and so what we're doing by keeping them separated is we know how much we have in our bank to do operations. Aside from
Yeah.
that,
And it might even be something that in the future, maybe when we get a better handle of this, we might be able to do a 90-day CD with operation stuff at the beginning of the year. But right now, we feel more comfortable just doing the facility money because we know that it's only used for facilities.
Money that's not as fluid.
Yep, yeah,
I agree.
and we are relying on both our advisors at Bank of Commerce and our advisor at Zions to make sure that we are getting the correct information and that we're making wise financial decisions.
So. Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. DeGraw. That was really good. And that's really what we wanted to, just to this inform the board that this is what we're looking into. So if you do have any other insights as you're thinking about it, go ahead. please.
Just one other question, do they have a limit on the amount of money you put in that CD?
I'm not aware of
I'm
it.
not aware, we did mention.
Well, isn't there a
one
bottom, a
million
base?
to them, and they didn't say that that was a concern.
There might be, but we never did ask that question
I
specifically.
mean, is there a certain amount you have to have? in there?
I'm not sure.
Is there?
I can do some research on that.
Amount.
You
It's
have
kind
to
of
have-
up to whatever.
Hmm.
But well.
Isn't it 10,000 or? No, you can have. a
Probably it
CD.
depends on the CD.
Okay. To get that 4.9.
That is what the CDs are. For
But
the
there's
90
always a
days.
limit, I mean, there's always a certain amount you have to
Minimum.
put in. a
Yeah,
minimum.
and I can reach out to them and find that out.
All right. Our last discussion item is the superintendent report.
Oh, boy. Been a long day and who wants to listen to the superintendent? But I've got something for you guys.
All right.
I just wanted to, on the report today, do something a little bit different. As I pull up the school district website, just as a way to bring attention to the good things that are going on in the schools. And so those that have the WestJ app have this right on their phone and it looks like a social media app on their phone. And I just wanted to look at the posts and just kind of like fly through the month that came up. Yes, we are in board meeting, but if I go back to last board meeting, just kind of briefly talk about the crazy things that have happened since would have been back to here. And
Right.
so, there's so much that goes on. And again, we don't have everything posted on here. I am working with our administrators let's try to get as much of this to keep the community aware. But our junior high girls won district championship. This was back right after our last board meeting in November. It was an amazing game. We beat the Firth Cougars in the championship. It's the first time that Firth Cougar team lost in 2
Yeah.
years. And it was an amazing job. Congratulations to those girls. We hired a new maintenance director. This is Andy Miller. He married many of you know Lindsay Cope. This is their kids and stepkids for Lindsay. And Andy's settling in and doing a great job here this last month here as our new maintenance director. Couple boys from the high school that are in the rodeo clubs have been doing really well, got invited to world championships. You know, Slade Shoup, White Silgowski, Wilson Gowski. You know, a lot of fun things that are going on. Boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling has started. Girls wrestling, I know you love that. Lots of different games. A lot of our kids in the elementary schools went down to the museum. We have a great connection with the museum where they do Christmas Tree Lane. The kids come down and sing Christmas songs. The museum folks put on a fun scavenger hunt for the kids to go around and look at the different items. We had let's see, Mr. Guimar was just helping advertise some stuff. Adopt a Kid, we've had so many wonderful people step up here these holiday season, Secret Santas. And our community has been blessed, and I appreciate those people that have been willing to come in and do that. And I hope it really brings the happiness and joy to those that need it. Cheerleaders are gonna put on a mini cheer camp. I can talk about this later. Yes, my daughter is signed up for it. They had holiday dress up days. They did do some work this week, Nedra. Like they did some schoolwork. My kids. Shad came up, Shad had tests and they're working the kids hard, but they did do some fun stuff as well.
I hate to be a grin.
Let's see, tonight, there's the music concert, fundraiser dinner here at the ALC. Come and support the music program. If you weren't at the game last night, Pep Band is sounding great. They've been small in numbers, but little by little, Mrs. Parker's been increasing the numbers. It's been going good with that. Again, junior high boys basketball starting, and of course, board meeting, you know, some of the things that didn't make this list, Hamer Christmas program. It was fun. The district band was able to play there and
Huge crowd.
a huge crowd. It was so fun. Appreciate all the hard work that those ladies do to put that on. That's Danielle Pancari and Kayleen Young, and then our third grade teachers put on their music program here. Does anybody else able to make it to that? It was, you didn't have kids, last year you guys had kids in it, or it just depends on when you have the kids in it. It was outstanding. It was amazing again. It's Miss Allen and Miss Hershey putting that on, and just the different help from the volunteers. And I'm probably missing a ton of different things, but really the point of the superintendent meeting is we've got a lot of really good things going on here in the district. We have teachers that are working hard, students that are working hard. Majority are being respectful, kind, working hard. The kids that sometimes struggle, we work with them. We're gonna teach them. We're gonna keep loving them and keep helping them. And so, we're excited also. I didn't have to have any snow days before Christmas break. We're saving them up hopefully for times when the snow comes here coming up. But I just here at the end of the year, really as superintendent, just wish everybody happy holidays, happy Christmas, and thank everybody for supporting our schools. We feel really supported here at West Jefferson from our community and on behalf of the school, and also to you as school board members. Yes, I know it's my evaluation day. It's already over, but thank you for serving on the board. Thank you for taking the time to have an interest in what we're doing here, and for helping, you know, field the concerns that people have. We're doing good with I say doing good. We keep reminding about chain of command, but people that do reach out to chain of command, I hope we're working through those concerns, because there's always going to be it in any organization. But I feel like we're in a good spot, and just appreciate you guys.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Williams. We need a special or work meeting.
As of right now, no. And our next meeting is January 16th,
With
which will be our
At noon.
annual meeting.
We have with the executive session at noon, regular annual meeting starting at 12:30.
Super. Okay, well, with that, the floor would be open for a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We're adjourned. We'll see you next year.